And the winner will get Australia. So obviously they had Australia. You not mention that.
Sunday. Tyler with microphone deck number 1. Tyler to play-by-play. Welcome to Tom Benson Field. Rob, go ahead and give me a check.
Test. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Live from Tom Benson Stadium. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
When you guys are ready, just squeeze up.
He said we really have to eat these microphones.
Okay.
But the mic check was good, so.
If you want to know 2 minutes, you can kind of keep your eye on the scoreboard.
Okay, I like that idea. We're going to do a quick run through. For the 2015 IFAF World Championships at beautiful Tom Benson Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Hello again, friends. Tyler with you alongside of it's day 1 of the championship. Game number 2 pits French against the Brazilians. Robin, good matchup because both squads like to boast that they have outstanding quarterback-wide receiver tandems.
Yeah, they really do. It'll be the quarterback Paul Duran from France, who will be his third time in this World Championship. And Ty, another thing is the French has a lot of experience. This is the first time they've been to the World Championship. For Brazil, it's their first ever matchup. Like you say, quarterback play at any level is very important. So whoever wins that role at quarterback probably will do well. The other thing is, in my mind, what offensive line can protect that quarterback? I don't care how good you are. If your offensive line can't protect you, you're in trouble. So we'll see which quarterback plays better.
As you said, it's really a baptism by fire for Brazil. It's their first appearance. France was 5th here in 2011. But again, like their French counterparts, a couple of good targets offensively for that Brazil quarterback who played a little bit of college ball here stateside.
He did. Hudson Fonseca has played stateside, first Brazilian-born quarterback ever to play in the NCAA, and he'll have Azevedo as a really good wide receiver for him to hook up with. So we'll see how the Brazilians do in their first ever World Championship.
What was our time on that? Okay, good.
Good. Nice enough.
You forgot to tell the people in the truck that usually our first take is the best.
Yeah, down hill after that.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
They want to do a couple of them.
Yeah, because they don't have any canned footage from the ladies on the field yet.
Oh.
Oh, okay, cool. The birthplace of professional football, rolling out the red carpet for the 2015 IFAF World Championships. Hello again, friends. Tyler Rapoliski, excuse me, my bad. Sorry about that. the birthplace of professional football, rolling out the red carpet for the 2015 IFAF World Championships. From Tom Benson Stadium here at the Hall of Fame Field, it is day one. It is game two of this year's championships. France and Brazil is the matchup. Hello again, friends. Tyler, Rob Polinsky, happy to be with you this afternoon. It is one team, Rob, a return for another. It is their baptism.
It is. France has been here. This is the fourth time in the World Championship. It's played every 4 years. First ever time that they qualified for this. They had to win a qualifying game just to get here. So you have the experience of France against Brazil. So it'll be a very interesting ball game today.
Both teams like to boast that they've got outstanding quarterback, wide receiver combinations. That's one thing, but as you always like to point out, that doesn't matter if you don't get protection.
Yeah, the offensive line, whichever team can protect their quarterback, I think has an excellent chance to win this football game. I'm interested to see which offensive line performs best, gives their excellent quarterback opportunity to win this game in advance.
Paul Durand from France, and you've got Hudson Fonseca of Brazil, both very good. They've got experience, and for Fonseca, he played some football here stateside.
He did. He's the first Brazilian-born quarterback to play in the NCAA. One of his favorite targets, Azevedo, played junior college in California. So they have been to the States before. It'll be interesting to see how Brazil does in this atmosphere in their first ever time in the IFAF World Championship. Their first, so you have interesting
But as you
of line. I'm interested in quarterback and Yep.
Yep, thank you.
By seeing them, you mean? I do not.
That's Francis guy right there that you got, the non-headset guy.
With the beard?
But I would not put money on. I just think that is from his headshot.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Let me get binoculars out. Or actually, I just use yours. The monitor. That's why they gave me one. Okay. Let me get my roster. Let me get the binoculars. Where's his pick? That's why they gave.
Yeah, I never saw one that had pictures, so I don't know.
And the repository did like. They only got headshots of the players on this thing.
Saw one of coaches.
The birthplace of professional football, rolling out the red carpet for the 2015 IFAF World Championships. From Tom Benson Stadium here at the Hall of Fame field, it is day one, it is game two of this year's championships. France and Brazil is the matchup. Hello and friends, Tylander, Rob Polinsky, happy to be with you this afternoon. It is, for one team, Rob, a return; for another, it is their baptism.
It is. France has been here. This is the fourth time in the World Championship. It's played every 4 years. For Brazil, first ever time that they have qualified for this. They had to win a qualifying game just to get here, so you have the experience of France against Brazil. So it'll be a very interesting ball game today.
Both teams like to boast that they've got outstanding quarterback, wide receiver combinations. That's one thing, but as you always like to point out, that doesn't matter if you don't get protection.
Yeah, the offensive line, whichever team can protect their quarterback, I think has an excellent chance to win this football game. I'm interested to see which offensive line performs best, gives their excellent quarterback an opportunity to win this game in advance.
Paul Durand from France, and you've got Hudson Fonseca of Brazil, both very good. They've got experience, and for Fonseca, he played some football here stateside.
He did. He's the first Brazilian back to play in the NCAA, and one of his favorite targets, Azevedo, played junior college in California. So the states before. It'll be interesting to see how Brazil does in this atmosphere in their first ever time in the IFAF World Championship. Unless you can't find some alphabetical, it's not numerical.
It's kickoff time for the Hall of Fame field. And for Team Brazil, they'll kick off and open up their first bit of competition. In the IFAF World Championship, this kick taken a couple of yards in the end zone, trying the right hash mark. Pretty good return. Out to midfield, a kicker to beat him, got the seam, one more to beat 20, shakes him free and scores. No flags on the field, and a kickoff return for a touchdown. Start this game 13 seconds into the game.
Anthony Dabley, I believe he goes.
Dabley, yeah.
Goes about 102 yards. Goes about 102 yards, Ty, and he was untouched. You see right here, he's untouched till he gets to midfield. I mean, you don't see white jersey anywhere.
A pretty good kick, and it was almost as if he kicked it too far. So an inauspicious start for the Brazilians as that open kickoff is returned 100-plus yards. And just 13 seconds in, the French have a 7-0 lead over Brazil, just like that in the blink of an eye. Well, a lot of things have to come together in a return like that. Everybody has to do his part. And obviously it's Dabley who gets the credit for the touchdown. There were 10 other guys out there doing their thing.
And one of them was Arno Vidaler. Arno Vidaler, number 4, had an outstanding block for France on that kickoff return. And football's three phase: offense, defense, special teams.
Yep.
You always think about offense and defense. Sometimes special teams, it's the last thing that you do. Is we got to take another look at it, Ty.
You'll really get to see the splits open and the blocking assignments open up here. They're officially calling it a 102-yard run. And you see right there on the right side of the screen the block you're talking about.
Yeah, Duvall had an outstanding block. And then a good job by Doble as he was able to muscle a Brazilian kick turner, or I should say kickoff coverage hand at the 10-yard line.
So after spending 6 days in the United States, the French couldn't wait to get to this field, couldn't wait to get that practice. They were in Cincinnati, and 13 seconds in, they're having some fun. For Brazil, it's kind of a rude welcome. They'll get the chance with the ball coming up here. Pretty deep kick about halfway through the end zone. They'll take a knee, and let's take a look. We talked about it in the open, but Brazil has some offensive firepower, and we're going to immediately need to see that. There is a change, Rob. We talked about we were coming in expecting to see Fonseca, but it's Sergiro who gets the nod behind center so far, the quarterback.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Sergiro can bring for Brazil. And you see the difference in the special teams right there. Brazil has to take a knee. They have to go 80 yards now, where France obviously had the kickoff return for touchdown.
Brazilians in white uniforms, the French and the Navy. This is first play from scrimmage in this game. 7-0 if you're just joining us. A 102-yard return to start things off, and on first down. It is a game just across that line of scrimmage, which was the 22-yard line. We'll take a quick look at the defense Brazil is going up against. Bigger guys, bigger defense maybe than you would normally see. Very physical, especially that front four.
That defensive line for France is really big against the Brazilian offensive line.
Was Denis Cemento on the first carry. He'll touch it again. Bigger hold this time. Upended as he crosses the 25, nudges it up to the 29, setting up a manageable third down, very short.
Yeah, but a good second down and long run, and that sets them up with 3rd and shorts, gives Brazil a makeable third down or tie. And after giving up that immediate touchdown, I think it's important that Brazil at least gets a first down or two on offense here to feel good about themselves.
Nascimento kind of hurdled that would-be tackler, and not a lot of contact was made. Big play here early, down 7. Brazil wants to avoid that dreaded 3 and out. They show 3 wideouts at the near side, 1 split up high. 90 seconds gone by, and France on a kickoff return start this game has a 7-0 lead. And they do go right back to the ground, and that lateral pursuit is going to lose a yard. So 3 straight on the ground to Lucas do Nascimento, and he can't quite get that first down. This was much better pursuit defensively.
Yeah, Theo Savron made the stop, was one of several French defenders there, and they did a good job. It took Brazil too long to get, you got to go north and south. You don't want to go east and west. It took Brazil too long to try to get going north and south.
Well, outstanding wide receiver for France is going to watch this end over end, bounce to the 31. Now he'll try the right hash. Pretty good move. He's got it to midfield. And the first offensive series for the French will start in Brazilian territory at the 48-yard line. And here is a look at Paul Durand and the rest of his offense, including that fine wide receiver you just saw, Ryu, return that punt, number 11.
And their fine running back, Stefan Yepmo. And now we get to see France on offense for the first time, Ty, and they start in Brazil territory.
Durand goes 6'2", 165, and they stretch that first handoff. And they lynch that ball out inside of the 45 to the 44. And let's meet the defenseman on the Brazilian side of things.
And the defensive tackle, Andre Vargas, made that first stop. France went right up the middle, right at Brazil, where Brazil running the spread offense. France that time more traditional, and they went right at him and attacked.
First offensive series for France after that kickoff return. It started at the 48 and a gain of 4 on first down. Now out of the shotgun. 2-step drop and a throw to the flat. Got it to Ryu on the outside. He's outside of the numbers and has a first down as he's run.
Nice job by France that time. They get it to Rio, and like you say, he was in space, had plenty of time to run. It's the first down, and France is looking good early on in this game as we take another look at it.
Throw a ball to that wide receiver in the outside, depending on some open field blocking, and it's exactly what they got. And I know you love wide receivers who can block.
Exactly, and it's a part of the game you don't really think about or for that position, but so important.
They show a couple backs now as Ryu goes in motion to the near side on 1st down and 10 from 37. Slant to the middle, and that is caught by Dolly, who was responsible for the opening kickoff touchdown. He was the man blocking on the previous play. He'll pick up a quick 8 first down.
Clever safety free test. The safety for Brazil on the stop, but now for a big 8-yard gain. And Ty, 2nd and 2 was a lot easier to call than 2nd or 9 and 2nd and 10.
And moving that ball into Brazilian territory now at the 29. Spread offense for France, though, 2 wideouts to near side. 1 setback as he goes back under center. Speaking of Duran, stepping, throwing near side and in and out of the hands. That ball was well thrown, maybe just a little bit too hot, but a catch that probably could have been made. But as you mentioned, the big gain on 2nd down gives you that, or 1st down rather, gives you a makeable 3rd down.
It does. Dabley's got a couple of that. It was well thrown by Duran, right in his hands and in and out of Dabley's hands. I don't know if he just looked away and was looking at that Brazilian defender maybe. He might have seen Felipe Sodra right there and didn't look it all the way in.
So Brazil trying to force a 4th down is 3rd and 2. They'll show 2 wideouts near side. Couple back. Fullback under center is Duran. Big offensive push this time will bring a big run, but a flag is in the wake as it stands right now. It's an up the middle touchdown for Yebo, but we're going to get quick conference behind the line of scrimmage with the officiating crew, and the preliminary indication is indeed a hold. That Jim Briggs out of Great Britain, who leads this crew. And Mr. Briggs says that's a hold, so 10 yards the other way.
What a time for the first penalty here, Ty. That is a big call. Prevents France from taking a 2-touchdown lead. And now it's going to be 3rd and long all the way back at the Brazil 39. You'll see it on the right side of the offensive line here for France.
And a reason why that hole opened up. So an assist for Brazil will help them out. They've now lined up, faced this 3rd down 12 and a different look from France this time. The wide receivers all bunched near the line. They'll play action, and they're going for the long ball. There's Reed wide open for the touchdown. Oh, they sold the play action perfectly, and a big play threat for France has made one right here. It's a 37-yard spike, and this is one of those connections we talked about in the open.
Yeah, we sure did, and a great job. Duran has plenty of time to throw. See the great job by the French offensive line. Protect, throws it out there, and wide open is Ryu. He runs it under and makes the easy 39-yard touchdown catch. Look at that. You don't see a white jersey anywhere around Duran.
A bit on the play action, and that extra point, which was partially deflected, still finds its way through. And now the French have done it with the special teams and the offense. That was a short drive. Started, as you remember, on the Brazil side of the field. And this is one of the things you would think that Brazil wanted to avoid, Rob, is that first time out here on the stage. You kind of get through that first initial wave, weather the storm is the cliche we hear. And right now, France is showing that it means business this afternoon.
They certainly do, and you know, maybe it's that experience that France has by being this is their 4th time. Even though their overall record is 1-8 in this tournament, they've got several players that played in this tournament 2 and 3 times. You know, getting that putting kickoff return certainly it did wonders for them. They get a 3-and-out on Brazil, poor punt, and I believe a 48-yard drive for the touchdown. So it couldn't have been a better start for France, and obviously for Brazil, they could have had a worse start than right here.
And the thing you would want, I would suspect, is after that huge momentum shift at the opening kickoff, the absolute worst thing in the world, other than maybe a turnover, is to go 3-and-out.
Exactly. And let's see here if Brazil can get an opportunity to return his kick.
This one is in the corner, and that one is coming out. And maybe not the right call as it is advanced up past the 10. But they'll be backed up. Speaking of Brazil, it is officially a 39-yard touchdown pass. It makes it a 14-0 game. We've got 7:29 in our open period.
5 plays, 48 yards. Took a minute 52 off clock. France on their first offensive series of football game.
And maybe now Brazil will settle in there. It's played almost half of this opening stanza.
You know, Ty, Pan won the first 2. championships. The United States have won the last two, and you wonder which team is going to step up this year and maybe have an opportunity to contend. Could it be the French team? Could they be maybe the prize team in the tournament and possibly take their opportunity to try to advance in this?
Well, they could not ask for a better start to this one, that for sure. As the first offensive play of this drive is a wide receiver screen to that outside. Decent gain for Acevedo. It's positive yardage. Call it a gain of 2 to the 15.
I like that play call. Get Acevedo out there and try to, a chance for him to run. Try to get something positive for Brazil. Get them going. Cerqueira, the quarterback, get him a short pass. See if he can get some confidence now.
They show grip wideouts down to the bottom side. This formation is back in the gun is Cerqueira. He'll take that high snap, go right back to ground, and the spin move. Yes, that is Hamas, who pitches it over the 15 out to 16 again. Unfortunately, the lack of getting any big yardage on first down is putting Brazil into a tough spot as this handoff maybe mistimed by the high snap.
Well, I'm impressed early on with the defensive line France and Mamadou C, number 86. He's a big boy at defensive tackle. He eats up some space, and I'll tell you what, he's eating up some Brazilian offensive linemen early on.
Well, another big third down coming up for Brazil. It's a 3rd and 7 from their own 16. They show 2 wideouts near side. That's where they're looking. Going to lob it that way toward the numbers, and that pass is incomplete and broken up on a sensational defensive play. That ball looked like it was on target for a moment, but at the last moment, it was knocked away.
Sandy Marson, the cornerback there, going stride for stride with the Brazilian receiver, did a nice job. As you see, puts the pressure, and there's a nice job of knocking that ball away.
Yeah, he got to the side of the would-be target and knocked that ball away from our angle. It looked like a pretty well-thrown ball. So it is 3 and out, and standing to get pretty good field position again. Team France, this is an end-over-end kick. They'll be taken by Ryu. Makes good first move, but a flag is down as he's bouncing around inside the 40 to the 35. But there may have been an illegal block right where that punt return started. And if so, that'll help Brazil out and force France to start a drive on its own side of the field for the first time. We've got 6:19 on the clock, and it is illegal block.
Holding on France on the special teams. Second penalty of the ball game.
Again, that's Jim Briggs. It's a mixed crew. The only stipulation is official can't be from one of the participating nations. And we've got a couple of Great Britain officials on this crew. Sweden, Finland, Denmark. Second game of the day, it was all Australia in game number 1 this afternoon, so they advanced to play a winners bracket game on Sunday. In fact, they'll take on the winner of this game. So far, France off to the 14-0 lead, and a good move off that point of attack as Yemo takes it. And that's the difference right now, Rob, that I'm seeing in this first period is the success on first down or lack thereof for each side.
Right, and it makes it so much easier for France when they're looking at second and 3. Again, to me, it's up front. France early on, the offensive line has done a great job, and then conversely, when Brazil has the ball, I think it's the French defensive line that has dominated.
So you're saying that no matter what level or what nationality, football adages, they always hold true.
It's important, that battle in the trenches. I don't think it's a coincidence that France is playing really well. They're controlling the line of scrimmage.
It was an illegal substitution, so that'll wipe out some of that initial run by Yepmo. As you saw the replay, he made a really nice first move after the block on the left side went back to his right.
And it didn't hurt to have a 103-yard kickoff return to open up the ball game.
Yep, that sets tone, you're right. Head coach Patrick Asume has led his team. He said the most important thing for his guys was to get over the disappointment of this event not taking place in Sweden. He said once we got over that, and then the excitement grew, and here's a pretty good push by the defensive line, forcing Duran outside, and he's going to turn it into a positive game. But that's the first time we've seen some pressure from that defense. But just to finish the thought, he said once we got over that disappointment, we started talking about you're going to Hall of Fame. This is where legends of this particular brand of football have played. And they said they enjoyed the experience. They practiced, had camp in Cincinnati.
This is birthplace, and for these players to be able to come over here and get a chance to tour these facilities, it's not just about the tournament, but the entire time they're going to be here and everything they get to do and see. It's all part of it.
All right, so after that illegal substitution and the quarterback scramble, this is a 3rd and 3, and the outlet pass, he goes to his favorite man. Ryu spins one way, back the other, and it's still enough for a drive continuing first down to the 4-6. They move in to Brazilian territory, and on that far side, some of the fans from South America's largest nation have made the trip, and as they are in any sport, very much into it, as you see the great hands by Ryu.
And they brought their ring gear with them to Stark County.
Boy, have they. First ever appearance, and of course, next summer, all eyes in the sports world will be on the country of Brazil, and specifically Rio de Janeiro, as they host the summer games. Duran with a drop, steps up now, launches another deep ball inside the 10. It's in and out of the hands again. Dabley was there and could make the catch, and maybe that fender got a paw up just in time to knock it away. A good play call. We'll get a definitive look as to whether or not this ball was touched, but another really well-thrown ball.
Yeah, they gave Duran an awful lot of time to throw it. He laid it out there, very close to being a complete pass. I like that call on 1st and 10, Ty. Why not go for it with a 2-touchdown lead? You run the fake, throw deep, very close to make it 21-0.
So it is 2nd down and 10 now from the Brazil 46 and out of gun. They tuck that ball right in on the draw, and the gain is out to the 40 as Yepmo takes it to within 3 or 4 yards of first down. It's 14-0 in favor of France, as you see on your ticker. 3:40 on the clock.
And Ty, for France, what you're seeing too is a good balance in offense. They can run, they can throw, and they're keeping that Brazilian defense. They can't just concentrate on the run or the pass. They're able to do both, and when you can do both successfully, you're going to have a good offensive day.
Big opportunity for Brazil to get off the field and get the offense back out. It's a 3rd down and a long 3 or a short 4. Almost staggered to Duran, and in pressure launches it too soon, and the incomplete pass. And that play from the very beginning looked like it was disrupted. It's 4th down.
I think you're right, as you said, that he slipped a little bit. That threw off the timing of the entire play. Give the Brazilian defense credit. They're able to get off the field here. Now, what you want to watch for here, Ty, with the 4th, like you said, a long 3 or short 4, this is a perfect part of the field if France wants to run a punt.
Especially up a couple of touchdowns, and seeing on that replay, I thought maybe Duran got his feet entangled with center, and there is a fake, and you called it, Rob, and it is open outside to the corner. Far side 20-15 and run out of bounds for a first down.
Bruce Marcy got that inside handoff, Ty, and I'll tell you what, French special teams have been just that day. They have been special. A kickoff return for a touchdown, a great play right there, and they keep their offense on field.
Rob, you called it. You suspected something like this was coming, and it's a 27-yard pickup on that brilliantly executed fake punt. Do you maybe take a chance because you've got a 2-touchdown lead?
I think so, and then more than that was the field position. Even if you don't get it, you're on Brazil's 40, so you're not in your own part of the field. Why not take a chance right there? And that was really well executed.
1st and 10 for France at Brazil 13, already up a pair of scores. 2:30 on the clock in the opening period. Again, play action. Duran steps up to the 10 and can't quite get past that linebacker, and he'll bring him down at the 7-yard line. Pickup of 6 and called 2nd down. They can still get a first down if they get inside the 5-yard line near the 3.
Good decision here by Duran, as you see. He's under some pressure, Ty, and instead of throwing it away, he'll just step up and take what he can get. That's good decision by a veteran quarterback, not to try to make a touchdown play. It's 1st and 10. Go forward, he gets 5 or 6 yards, and gives his offense an opportunity inside Brazil 10.
This time they have you in a slot. Now he goes in motion coming near side, picks himself in on the near side line, and they go right back to the ground, and Yepmo is to 5, I think, maybe inside it.
Maybe right at the 5, it looks like.
And as I said, that both of the 3, you can get a first down. It's going to be 3rd down and very short with a $1:25 and counting on a first period clock. Game 2 of the opening day of this IFAF World Championship. Canton Ohio. And as banners outside proclaim, 7 teams, 1 champion. Inside the 5 is the football's location as we come upon a minute. It is 14-0 France at a whistle and a timeout. It is a defensive timeout taken by Brazil, down by 14, exactly 1:02 on the clock. Not a bad use of a timeout right here, knowing the importance of this forthcoming play.
Yeah, you see the Brazilian coaching staff calling their defensive players over. They know how important this is. Already down 14-0. They can ill afford to fall behind by 3 scores.
Coming up later on this afternoon, one final game, the nightcap and Parade of Nations. The United States hosts take on Mexico, and 4 years ago, it was a heck of a ball game, just 17-7 for the United States. That is the final game of this opening day. It's a 7 o'clock kick. We'll be with you for it, Rob Polinsky and myself. Happy you could be a part of it. And by all means, as this event continues, we'd love to have you.
You know, we haven't had a chance to talk about that, but think about it. The football fans in and around the area, what an opportunity these next 2 weeks to see all these teams play, Ty. Fans of football should be down here to check this out.
And really seeing
it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for fans around.
And an evolving sport that has gone international as of late. There's Ryu to the high side, and he's going to sprint across, rolling Duran. Lobs it, he's right there in the corner. Got his feet in, it's a touchdown. Well, they were just going to roll Duran out as far as they could, and just a myriad of options he would have had. He could have tucked it and ran, and you'll see it on this second look, but Ryu is just a great guy to have in your huddle, and he can make plays, and seeing the mobility too of Duran.
Yeah, he was very close going out of bounds here as we take another look.
Only need 1 foot.
It is football, not feetball, so you need 1.
And he did, like he may have even been good in the NFL. It was tough to see from that angle, but there is a penalty marker down on the near side.
Ty talked about it in the open, and game open, about the French quarterback and Rio, his receiver, Duran, the quarterback, and they've already hooked up for 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. We're seeing their experience pay dividends.
They've also taken advantage. That was a defensive offsides call that is going to slice that point after try and half. It is good. France has taken advantage of some awfully good field position. 21-0 in favor of France. And just again, the mobility of Duran as he rolls to his right. He's got a couple blockers out in front. That DB releases immediately.
That's real good concentration by Rio, because Duran, that's not the best throw. Rio was open for a long time, and Duran waited a little bit too long. Ty. Rio bailed him out, keeping his feet in bounds.
And a terrific call as it is confirmed through that look. Not one, but both feet were safely in there, making a 21-0 lead for Team France, and this is still the opening period. So maybe some of the spirit sapped from those Brazilians on the far side, but still a very, very long way to go in this one. And we've seen Brazilians, they can put points up in bunches, so don't count them out just yet. They just need to get a drive, that defense break. That defense has been out there for quite some time in this first period of action. They could also benefit from a good return, and this one is set up for a shorter kick. And in the mass, this pushed up to the 23. That is where Ramon Cerqueira is coming out.
And Ty, had to be tough on Brazil that last series, because the defense thought they had gotten off the field, and then the fake punt. When you're on defense, you think you're off the field. They get fake punt, they get the first down. It's so demoralizing and so difficult to bounce back from. And France did a great job of getting their 3rd touchdown in the first quarter. But for Brazil, it had to be tough for those defenders to go back out there when they thought they had done their job.
Be back to drawing board a bit for coaching staff of Brazil. They're sticking with Cerqueira, but this play is stopped before it could get started.
And Brazil just needs something good to happen for them, Ty. They need something positive. Whatever their 2 or 3 best offensive plays are, they need to hang their hat on something. You know, get an identity on offense of what they want to try to accomplish and see if they can do that this series. Forget about the 21-0 deficit. Just find what you can hang your hat on. You still got 3 quarters to play.
Well, it's the old adage, you can't get them all back in one play or even one drive. Couple of wideouts to the right side and turning, and there's the play action from Sirkira. Steps through, pressure coming, he dumps it down, he's got a man, but skip in there. Incomplete off the carpet near the 20-yard line. Would have only got back the penalty yardage anyway. Not a bad play. Number 1 for Sirkira to avoid the sack. Get a second look, and we'll see this ball skip into that intended target. As you could see, it didn't short up him. He just went right through his hands. His penalties have certainly been big too, but France, they've got away with 3 so far. 3 for 25 has not really slowed their offensive attack down, up 21. Sirkira going to throw the bullet low, and he's going to be fortunate to get that one back. Be some miscommunication between he and Fernandez, who was up on that right side, and defensive back was perhaps in closer.
Yeah, Fernandez to the outside, and the pass was to the inside, and they're fortunate that it didn't get intercepted.
Right in between, and the incomplete pass stops the clock. 36 remaining in the opening period. It's a 21-0 lead for Team France. Just an absolute dream start. An overcast Thursday afternoon at Stark County, Ohio, United States. For this IFAF World Championship, they really spread out now along that Brazilian offensive front. 6 in the box. They come near the middle, lobbing it, trying to get over the shoulder. Almost a one-handed catch in heavy traffic. It does fall incomplete.
The free safety that time for France was able to step up and take a shot. That is Arno Vidal.
And Dominguez almost made perhaps the catch of the championship so far.
And then Vidal separates from the ball tie, the safety from France. Number 3 comes in, and you'll see him make the play. Right there.
Just it over his head, but terrific effort, but is 3 and out, and a 4th down. And another opportunity for Ryu, who's going to follow this punt back. Good kick. Takes a sideways bounce, and Brazil's going to kill it at the 45 of France. So good kick, leaving us 20 seconds remaining here in the first. A 21-0 lead for France over Brazil. One of the things France was talking about, in fact, came over here a little earlier than some of the other teams, and they were saying that they just wanted to get acclimated to the weather, number 1, but maybe even more important than that, the 6-hour time difference. We take that for granted.
Exactly, and it looks like whatever they did in their prep, they did it right, because they have been ready from the get-go.
And again, in a situation where they're really starting a drive in some good field position. They're working basically again here with half a field, up by 3. Here is a spinning catch. And finally able to make his first catch and not willing to declare himself down just yet. And Donnelly's got it to the Brazil 32. He started this game with a 102-yard kickoff return. He adds to it with a 23-yard skipper, and most of that was after the catch, which was a really nice play. Forearm went out first and just very physical.
Yeah, you got to wrap them up. Brazil's just trying to, you got to wrap. They didn't, and Dabble did a great job of not going down. He's a good-sized man. Good athlete.
Right now, Duran has 3 things that are working for him, not to mention the lead as the period comes to an end. He's got 2 dynamic playmaking wide receivers, and he's also got a big offensive line that has helped pave the way. 21-0 lead for France after 1. 12 minutes in the books in game 2, and for France, a beauty at quarter, leading Brazil 21-0. Thailander Rob Polakin, our fine big-time sports guru from Hall of Fame Field in Canton, as precipitation falls down. First play of the second period is going to be a throw over the middle, and wide open is big fullback out of the backfield this time, and France just keeping on the attack with a 21-0 lead. A first down throw as somehow wide open.
Kevin Mwamba wide open, his first catch of the afternoon. And France has a lot of weapons, Ty. Not only can they run and throw, but there's several different people that they've gone to. Been very impressive so far.
That makes it 5 first downs to 0 if you include the 4 France had in the first period. That's number 5 as we get a timeout.
You want to know why it's 21-0 France? We've got our first quarter stats here. For the French team, they have run the ball 7 times for 60 yards. Through the air, Duran is 6 out of 9 for 89 yards. 149 yards of total offense in that first quarter. They had 3 penalties for 25 yards. Third down conversion, 6%. They were 3 out of 5. For Brazil, not much offense. 4 rushes for just 7 yards. They were 1 out of 5 through the air for 2 yards. No first downs, just 9 yards of total offense. 2 penalties for 7 yards, and they were 0 for 3 in third down conversions. And special thanks to the big-time sports crew for the stats as well.
Yeah, you know, that's the way this game started. If you are just joining us, a 102-yard kickoff return for a touchdown for France, and so far it's been all they need. In the first ball game today, Australia blew open what was at one point 13-6 game, and the Aussies beat up on South Korea 47-6. Australia goes to a second matchup on Sunday against the winner of this game, and for South Korea, not done yet. They'll back at it on Sunday for a high noon second game as well. Out of the timeout, 1st and 10 as the rain a little heavier now. They're 2 wide receivers to the near side. They run their routes, and here's a flag coming in as Durant takes off, and neither you nor myself, Rob, have taken any officiating class, but when you see a play like that and you see the flag come in, usually it means a hold.
Yeah, it usually does, especially where through that. So it'll be first long for France, assuming that is a holding penalty. And you hit it on the head.
We'll see where this penalty occurred. It's the 4th penalty call on France, but they have not really been slowed down by that, as you saw. Well, there's so much to account for just in watching France live the first time. You've got to worry about what Durant's doing, what his receivers are doing, and all of this is behind a really strong offensive line.
And they have a good running game, and they use a lot of different formations.
Blitzes come from the edge, and they go to a spinning back, and that's Yepmo, who does a good job just to get back to the line of scrimmage. So they show some defensive pressure on that first down following the penalty, and it's going to bring up a second down and 20. The line gain is inside the 5.
Delmo Zashka on the stop for Brazil. And I think for Brazil on defense, it gives their defensive coaches an awful lot to think about to go over. As you just mentioned, France do so many different things.
And I do like when he has both you and Dable on the right side, focusing all of that attention to the right side. That may open something up on the high side. There's the play action. Yepmo going to his left. He'll step up now, and Durant is off and running. Bounced out of bounds inside the 15. And you almost think Brazil is happy to take that.
You do, and the thing I like about Duran is he doesn't force things. Right there's another opportunity where he could throw in the ball, maybe put it over, but he knows he's in field goal range, so he'll step and get what he can and live for another down. It's 3rd and about 12, but the line of scrimmage at the Brazil 15, he knows if they don't get a first down, they can kick the field goal. I think the experience of this quarterback, Duran, is shown in this first half tie. He makes good decisions.
The ball is in exactly the 15-yard line. It's 3rd down and call it 13, 10, 25 on a moving second period clock. Looking to his right, pumps once, now throws, fade to the corner, behind the fence, and almost an acrobatic one-handed catch by Ryu, but just out of his reach, 4th down.
Nice coverage out there by Bruno Rosa. Bruno Rosa with the coverage for Brazil. They're going to force a 4th down.
Well, another one of those good decisions you're talking about. He puts this ball where only his guy can get to it.
Yep, no way that's going to get interested. Looks like it's a 2-yarder.
Yeah, it's from the left hash. So this can be a tricky angle, again, with some precipitation falling, as you see, too. Good snap, and the kick is perfect.
Alexander C. with that 32-yard field goal.
So the penalty, maybe the first time, slows France ever so slightly, but they still pick up points. And with 10 on the clock here in this first half, France moves out ahead of Brazil by the score of 24-0. And we'll see if the flip of the field helps Team Brazil out any as the skies brighten ever so slightly.
I know it's early. There's a lot of football to play in this ball game. But Ty, if France hangs on and gets this win, you were here earlier than I, but I saw some of that first game. You think about it, boy, a second-round matchup of France and Australia, that could be a really good ball game.
Yeah, and they both put up some serious points. It's interesting for me, Rob, you know, you and I are so used to seeing pretty much college football, just to see some of the styles. I'll tell you, some of the formations, both the Australians and the South Koreans, you've never seen except maybe on a video game.
Yeah, and that's what I was really interested to see, like who influences these guys, and where did that come from, and how would they play the game, what kind of style would they play, and really impressed with France so far.
Offensively, they have, aside from the handful of penalties, as there is another flag down, they've been almost flawless offensively. Now, 7 of those 24 were on special team. That 10 out of the 24.
Well, as you mentioned early on, they've had great field position in the first half. I mean, it makes it a lot easier to get points when you're going 40 and 50 yards as opposed to 80 to 90 yards. And it seems like Brazil has been backed up the entire game, as will be right here once again.
Well, you don't see that very often. It's an illegal block on a kickoff that was down in the end zone. So back them to the 10. That penalty will be enforced against the Brazil return team. And they'll have a first down again, Rob, as you said. They have been haunted by this poor field position pretty much since the start of the day. And here it is one more time. They are stacking 2 wide receivers down to the bottom side of the field. We get a stoppage before this first down play from the 10.
You know, and after a relatively clean start to this game, now we're starting to see more and more penalties, and that kind of surprises me. I thought you'd see the penalties at the beginning of the game. At the very beginning of the series, we didn't see anything. Of late, both teams starting to commit some penalties, and the officials talk things over now.
Illegal ball field west, covering the kick. Let's see 15 yards for the previous ball.
Well, they're going to re-kick. Instead of the illegal block, they'll just re-kick it instead of back them up on the start of the drive. 24 love of France over Brazil so far. Still a long way to go in this one. Winner trying to join Australia as first day winner. The one team that's in the field that's not playing today is Japan.
17 field every day. Somebody's going to have a bye.
An off day.
Because there are 3 games today, 3 games Sunday. Then next week once again Wednesday and Saturday.
Yep.
So everybody will get one bye.
It'll be fun tonight. You'll have a chance to see a local guy for the United States team in Kevin Burke lead Team USA, and not too far from where he plays college football over in Alliance at Mount Ian. If you know anything about football, not only in Ohio but in this region, it doesn't get any better than that program.
And not far from his high school days. He's from nearby Westlake, Ohio, on the west side of Ohio, or on the west side of Cleveland, I should say. So I'm sure he'll have family and friends down here.
Yep, that's USA, Mexico. Boy, there have been some great battles regardless of sport throughout the years. And they'll tee it up at 7 after this ball game, which still has almost 3/4 of it remaining. They're kicking off from the 50 because of the penalty. So you almost expect it to go right through the uprights, and that's exactly what it does. Come out on the touchback, and we will get that Brazilian offense back out looking for its first down of the game.
You know, there's another weapon for France, that Alexander C. He's had deep kickoff today. He had 33-yard field goal. He's been perfect on his extra points. Much better in the kicking game is France than Brazil.
From 20 now, Brazil offense trying desperately to get something going. Running back goes in motion. They hand off inside instead, and not much room there. And this game right now may boil right down to the offense and defensive lines. France just basically controlling it.
Yeah, I think they have from the very beginning, Ty. The defensive front for France is just too strong for Brazil.
We talked about it as they faked Azevedo.
Try to run in between the tackles, and France doing a good job. Seems like all day long it's 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8 for Brazil. France, it's been 2nd and 2 or 2nd and 3.
3 windups bunched to the left side for Rowan Sakira, and they go right back to the ground. And again, that lateral movement as the French defensive line just so quick. Any potential holes quickly closed, as you'll see here.
Samuel Norta makes the stop.
They're in the backfield at blink.
Yeah, and France, I think they're a little deeper than Brazil too, Ty, because they're playing guys right now that didn't start the game, so they're keeping that defensive line fresh, and that makes a difference as well.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because you're not getting that full week off between games that we're used to here, or even more than that. You're coming right back 2 days later, so that's a good catch by you. Some of those guys are getting some rest, because these are rosters that are fairly small than what people are used to. Here's penetration, and first sack of the day is recorded as France got into that backfield and quickly took care of Ramon Sakira, and we'll see how almost untouched right off the right side.
Valentin Noah comes off that right side, blows right by the left tackle for Brazil, Junior Kruger.
He threw the look-up block.
Yeah.
Where you come here and go, look out, I didn't get him.
I thought that was that Olay block.
So another 3-and-out, and boy, that's just tough sledding right now for Brazil offensively, but all of that credit has to go to France. And you just saw, look at Ryu, who's been a very busy man. Flag coming in on the punt. But Ryu's been a big part of both the special teams and the offense as we get a look or what an explanation on this latest play. 7:51 on a stop second period clock. It has been all France since this game started with a 102-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
And Brazil has really struggled in their punting game most of this afternoon, and it continues right there. Holding on, Brazil, you would think with that short punt they'll decline it. Or no, they're changed it to say it's holding on France. The initial signal showed that it was going against Brazil.
It's still going to be field position. And they'll put the ball down right at the Brazil 45. So right back to work goes Paul Duran. 7:51 on the clock. We talked about the outstanding wide receiver, one of many weapons for France. He's got 4 grabs, a couple of touchdowns, closing in on 60-plus yards. They go to the ground now, and bouncing off the first wave. Was there an inadvertent whistle? I think there may have been. Either that or it was stopped on full progress at 48. So you see the great move by Yepmo refusing to go down.
So if you had Ryu in your fantasy football or your IFAF World Championship fantasy football team, you're having a good day. That's what you're saying?
You're having a very day.
So Brazil will benefit from that perhaps early whistle.
Well, you can see that's what I like about running backs who change their levels and still are able to hold on to that ball. Great job by Yepmo, and a great look from our guys down in the end zone. So it is 2nd down and 3. They go to the wide receiver screen, another backfield. Yepmo shakes his way, and a good hit out near the 45-yard line to bring up 3rd down and long. And if France is going to convert yet another 3rd down, it's going to have to earn this one because this is 3rd and long. Yepmo makes a good catch, but then he's hit pretty hard.
And that was well played by the Brazilian defense. Felipe da Silva did a good job as a defensive lineman. Pressured the quarterback, came all the way back, and then helped out on his tackle. That's what you like to see from a defensive lineman. Never give up.
And they're going to put 5 up front and 2 more behind. I wonder if it would maybe bring pressure up the middle. They come. Duran gets it away. He's got a man, and the catch is made 2 yards beyond where he needed to get. And another 3rd down conversion to Brazil 34 on a perfectly
And they're going to want to take another. They're going to take another look at this one, Ty.
Duran just looks so comfortable right now in that pocket. And 1 foot is in, and this officiating crew had a couple of tough ones on the edge today, and they've been right smack on the money with both of them. That's just a fine catch, but the throw is just pretty much perfect. And now he staggers. He'll get the handoff or a pass away. They're going to stop it, though.
Say that Duran fell first.
Yeah, and this time I do think maybe his center stepped on him.
And that's really the only thing that slowed France down when Duran is once or twice today.
And we should mention that it has rained intermittently throughout the afternoon. It rained at the end of the first game rather heavily and has off and on in this second game. And some of the players from all different countries were talking about the experience of playing on the carpet. Not quite used to that. And that looked like he got entangled with center. In any event, it's a second down and 13. Here's it, hand off to Yitmo, and slowly but surely now the running game is being stopped as Brazil makes an adjustment on that. Another third down and long coming as we go inside of 5 minutes to go here in the first half.
Yeah, one of the things you think about in North Ohio in July is maybe a lot of heat. Well, it hasn't been a problem today with the rain and the cool temperatures, which for the first day of this tournament, it's a really good thing that the guys don't have to contend that. I think they would much rather deal with rain and cool conditions than it were to be extremely hot.
Another chance for the Brazilian defense to get off the field. It's a third down and long. They converted a 3rd and 13 a moment ago. Again, play action. Duran will roll high side, stops, throws high, but caught right at the line. It'll depend on spot, and the spot is a first down. Another conversion, this one to the 23, as right now life is good for Paul Duran.
And there he goes to Daly once again. But the key, again, he's got time. See him roll to his left. There's no Brazilian defenders in the pocket. Give him time and is able to execute.
Pick up a 14 on another third down and long. Takes inside of 4 minutes. Defensive backs, not much you can do. They played that fairly well. They're just not getting any kind of pressure on Duran. He's been able to basically play pitch and catch. Here he goes back to Yetmo. Past the first man, but not second.
Well, Brazil that time had 9 in the box, and they weren't going to let Yetmo, run on that play at all. I'm a little surprised that Duran didn't, audible out of that, or maybe try to throw or even call timeout. He ran right into the teeth of that defense. There was no way France was going to be able to block all those Brazilian defenders in the box.
It seems to me maybe like France is taking the air out of the ball just a little bit, and if that's the case, boy, that Brazilian defense has been on the field for virtually the entire first half.
Yeah, and you wonder if they're going to wear down in the second half because, like you say, they've been there an awful long time.
More play action and plenty of time. Single coverage, and the ball's overthrown looking for Ryu. Now that was the first time we're going to get a penalty, and it was the first time Duran really got some pressure, but guess what? It was illegal.
Yep, roughing the passer on Brazil. That'll be an automatic first down, and the last thing Brazil needed to do was give France an automatic first down in the red zone.
Automatic first down, as you mentioned, and that'll continue the drive as the clock stops with 2:51. We'll see where the infraction occurred. Again, the play action is just so fluid right now. And they went high, and then it looked like toward the tail end, he wrapped him up and threw him down. And we've seen that on every level. The quarterbacks are going to be protected.
Yeah, Delmer Zashka, that time for Brazil, is the young man who's going to get that penalty.
They'll move the ball to the 11, so they can still get a first down, but they're probably thinking touchdown more than that. From the 11, Yetmo goes straight up the middle. The pass thrown down near the O-line, in and out of the hand of the intended first target, so that'll stop the clock. Second down now, France up 24. Still a 3-possession game. Right now, Brazil looking to force another field goal. That was a good look at the eyes. You could see Ron really scanning the field and his targets. And hard to argue with the numbers he has posted so far today.
We're at an excellent first half, and what you don't see there is no turnovers.
Nope. 10 of 15, a couple of touchdowns, and some sensational decision making as well. as France does burn a timeout with 2:47 on the clock. We're in the first half.
And with him with 10 completions and 137 yards, 18 yards per completion, that means he's thrown downfield.
Don't forget, this broadcast is presented under authority of IFAF. Therefore, any rebroadcast, retransmission is prohibited without express written consent of IFAF. We thank all of the fine folks from not only IFAF, but anybody who has a hand in putting this event on. Should be no surprise by now, the folks in Stark County, they know it better than anybody how to put a big event on, and this has been no different.
Enjoyed meeting and having a short conversation with Charlie Jones, the head honcho there with Big Time Sports before the ball game tonight. He was telling us a little bit about what they do, and like you said, everybody in the Stark County area well aware of the coverage they provide. High school football right around the corner.
24-0 France, 2:47 on the clock, middle of the field. Epmo takes the play action, fading back to Durant. Pressure coming, flag is down, stepping out of the pocket, through two defenders, and still on his feet is Durant. He's dancing around. Another flag is thrown the hat, and finally down to 13. And you have player down, flags down, hats down, and finally Durant goes down.
Yeah, I think he did all that for naught. Got a big Brazilian defensive lineman that's down. Hopefully he'll be all right because they can ill afford. You only have 45-man roster, Ty.
Right.
And they've got to play 4 games in a short period of time.
That might be 45, Fayard. Nope, that's not him. He's
for Brazil, I believe it's Felipe da Silva.
His second number is definitely a 5.
It's big 95, who's down, big defensive lineman.
The penalty, as you saw, will be marked off against the French. But that's been the one thing that they have not been hurt by. They have been called for more than their Brazilian opponents, but it hadn't hurt. They've been extremely well prepared this one. And a case could be when you have more snaps in your opponent, the opportunity for more penalties is there. 24-0 lead it. Clock start again. 2.5 play in the first half. There it is again. They've had more by a 2-to-1 ratio. The 55 yards hasn't hurt very much. 6 for 55 of little consequence. They are backed up outside of the 20 here. They do have timeout to go. Durant going to put it up. He's got plenty of time. Here comes another flag as it's swung out of the backfield to Yepmo. But another stoppage of the clock. The flag. This one likely is coming back, or could be declined if they want to take the down, because wasn't much a gain anyway.
Yep, I think exactly that's the indication from the side judge.
So they're still in field goal range, but I think Brazil wants the down. Although 3rd and long hasn't been the friend so far in the first half. Not defensively. On this drive, they have converted 2. 3rd and long. They'll have a chance to do another one here. It's 3rd and 21. We'll talk Steve Alec at halftime, the Senior Director of Communications for USA Football, who plays Mexico tonight under the lights. Durant throws up the back foot. Coming back to almost make the catch is Ryu. Near the 5, would have been close to either a first down or touchdown, and he's mad at himself. He thought he probably should have caught that ball.
Yeah, with an excellent day he had an opportunity for a 3rd touchdown catch and drops the ball. See Durant keep the play alive by rolling out.
Nice tight spiral, and just in and out of the hand, so we'll get another field goal. This one coming from dead central. 90 seconds of the half. He is 1-1. It is almost 40, and it's instead of fake. The toss going high side, knocked away and incomplete, and Brazil has a stop it has been looking for throughout the entire first half.
Cleverson defeats there, broke it up. I don't think it was a fake all the way. There was a high snap that time, and the French holder that time elected to try to roll out and throw for it, but see, it's a snap, Ty.
Was upstairs.
So Perez Madison.
I'll tell you what, they're fortunate, speaking of France, that ball wasn't caught because there was nothing in between him and the end zone other than 80 yards of carpet. So it's a 1st and 10, 1:23 remaining in the second period. Still a 3-possession game as it's a keeper to the 22, and that'll run the clock. Brazil has 2 timeouts. We see Hudson Fonseca, the 6'2", 24-pounder, come in, and he'll quickly check back out.
One play and he's out. So
inside of a minute now here in this first half. 3 wideouts to the near side. They go running out. Screen is set up, but France is not fooled. Not a bad time to call it, but unfortunately it's almost like right now France is playing 22 on 11.
I'm a little surprised that Brazil takes a timeout here on offense, Ty, because if France gets another stop, and they're going to get an opportunity to get the ball back. I would have thought Brazil, deep inside their own 20, would have just let the clock run out, but they elect to take a timeout here.
A very nice open field tackle on a play like that when you talk about the screen. Open field tackles of the utmost importance. So it is, as you mentioned, Rob, a timeout taken by Brazil. They'll be facing a 3rd and 14. So both teams now have a single timeout remaining with 39 seconds to go in the first half. Australia a winner, 47-6 in the afternoon game against South Korea. France got off to a good start today while the kickoff return for touchdown started off 102 yards. Hasn't looked back. And USA Mexico the night kick. 3rd down. 4 wide, 1 man in the backfield. Aside from the QB, Cerqueira, who lets it fly. He's got a man, and a heck of a catch is made out near midfield. Hernandez makes a terrific circus-style catch, and it's the first down of the game on a pickup of 30. Cerqueira got some time, Rob.
Well thrown. Fernandez did a good job getting a little separation. They're near midfield with 20 seconds to go in the half.
And again, 1 timeout. Looking, Cerqueira has a man up high. Got it to the 40, out of bounds. That'll stop clock and reserve the timeout. Acevedo out of the backfield makes the grab with 14 seconds to go. And some life after going the entire first half without a first down. They get back-to-back plays of first downs.
Trying to give their fans something to cheer about over there across the way.
Right in front of them at the 40. This is by far the deepest penetration into France territory for Brazil. 14 seconds, a timeout. If they need it, most likely will. Cerqueira looks to the sideline, now back into the shotgun. Takes a step, looks left, throws it down near the numbers. Open field catch is made. They're going to keep that clock running now with 7 seconds and 5 and a timeout taken. And they'll be left with 1 play at the 37-yard line. And the key to this play, Rob, defensively, make the stop and keep them inbounds.
Yep, force that last time out, and you see a good job by the French defender right there of doing that. And now for Brazil, Ty, you've got to go to the end zone. You're not going to attempt a 54 or 55-yard field goal, so they're going to have to throw it into the end zone, and that means they're going to have to give Cerqueira, the quarterback, time to throw. Because if you're going to complete a 37-yard touchdown pass, you've got to have time to throw that football. Barring a penalty, this is the final play of the half.
It will see what the arm strength of young Mr. Cerqueira is right here. 4 seconds, rain coming down again. Down 24, Brazil desperately get the ball to start the second half, looking for points at the end of the first. He'll fade, he'll look left, stepping, throwing, middle, incomplete, and off to bounce. The first period comes to a close. It started with a 102-yard kickoff return, and France added 17 more and leads 24-0 after half of play in game 2. One half in the books. France, a 24-0 lead over Brazil in Game 2. IFAF World Championship for 2015 right here in Canton. Tyler, at halftime, we're not pleased to be joined by Mr. Steve Alec, Communications Director for Team USA Football. It's a heck of a title, Steve. What's it exactly mean?
Well, as Senior Director of Communications for USA Football, I work with media relations with our outfit, as well as public relations for USA Football. We're the sport's national governing body, and much of what we do is coaching education on the high school and youth level. But certainly a big part of what we do as well is manage and assemble U.S. national teams in the sport, which is what brings us to Canton the next 2 weeks.
How do the rosters come together?
We lean very heavily on our head coach, Dan Hawkins, and his strong network within the college game. Of course, Coach Hawkins is very well known for really building the Boise State program, as well as leading the Colorado Buffaloes. And through coaches' connections, as well as assistants and our staff, to really recruit players, talking to colleges, and essentially Coach Hawkins will talk to a coach. He'll describe kind of character and talent that he's looking for, and essentially every coach tells him, Coach, this guy's going to be a captain for you. So essentially our roster, it's made of guys with the right stuff, largely team captain and leadership material.
Steve, the other thing too is, as I was reading, you had to have all 3 division or NCAA classes in there. NAIA has to be represented. It really does give you a comprehensive roster.
It does. It's very exciting to see it come together. One common bond, of course, these guys are playing for the United States, and it means a lot to them. And it's also a great chance for them to play this game that they love. A number of them they've all had stellar college careers, and to come out and play again, because all these gentlemen have left college careers. So to come and play for the United States, to play for Coach Hawkins, to wear the red, white, and blue in the shadows of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, it's one sweet way to celebrate your passion and affinity for the sport.
All of the players 1 year removed from their playing careers in college football. Steve, what's been the most rewarding thing about the lead-up and obviously the competition itself?
Ty, what's been very exciting is to see how this tournament has grown over the years. This is the 5th IFAF World Championship on men's level, age 20 and older. And back when you had the first one in 1999, IFAF had about 20 or 30 member countries. It's grown now to 71 across 5 continents. Wow. So the sport continues to grow, and it shouldn't be surprising. This is number 1 in the United States, football, and shared by other nations. The game is great, and it's exciting to have seen that proliferation of the sport, and it continues to get stronger.
Well, so far, speaking of stronger, France, a very strong first half. Started with a kickoff return, now enjoy a 24-0 lead. Thanks so much. Steve Alec, Senior Director of Communications for USA Football. We'll continue from Canton after this. France is halfway to a win in round one. Leads Brazil 24-0. Thailander Rob Polinsky back with you. Your thoughts on the first half, Rob?
Well, I thought France dominated from the get-go with the opening return for a touchdown. I think it took a lot of pressure off them right away, and we saw great decision-making by the quarterback, Paul Durand, all throughout the first half. He got the ball to various playmakers. They could run, they could throw. I thought they kept Brazil off balance. Of course, the Brazil offense really struggled in the first half, and I think a lot of that credit goes to the French defensive line. At the defensive line for France, they rotated several players. They all played well. I thought they really dominated the first half.
Well, as you mentioned, it all started with a 102-yard kickoff return for touchdown. And as we see it, it opened up beautifully all throughout. Every person did his job.
Yeah, as you look on the replay there, you don't see a white jersey anywhere around. And then a great stiff arm down here at the 10-yard line. And France, 13 seconds in the game immediately with a 7-0 lead. Their special teams were big in the first half.
So was Paul Durand. He hooks up with Ryu for the first of two. That was a 38-yard strike. Here he rolls out and hits him perfectly.
Yeah, and then Ryu and a few of the French receivers did a good job with their feet, had good footwork, and did a good job staying in bounds in some of those plays.
Now finally got a couple of first down, did Brazil. This is our final play of the first half. Almost an interception. It was dropped. But maybe the thinking for Brazil, they may have found something offensively. Second half, a couple of first downs after going the entire first half without one.
Yeah, they were able to get the 30-yard pass to Fernandez up to midfield. It might give their offense a little bit of confidence. See what they can do. They need to establish an identity in the second half. Something they can hang their head on and decide what they can do offensively to try to get back to this game.
24-0 France. Second half coming up. France up 24 after the first half of play that saw them dominate every single category you could imagine.
73 yards on the ground for France, 137 total yards, as you see right there. 8 first downs to 2. The only thing that France really had troubles with the first half, 6 penalties to just 3 for Brazil, but it really didn't matter. It all adds up with 24-0 lead for Team France.
Well, credit both teams, too, for the lack of turnovers in sometimes tough conditions, and two of the first time Brazil's played in this tournament, they've done a nice job. Both teams have of taking care of the ball. There have been a couple of instances in which there could have been interceptions or what have you, but the zeros are on the column for turnovers, and we get set to start the second half. And Brazil is hoping for a second half start much like France had at the start of this game. We'll see if they got any kind of momentum with those two first downs we're able to collect at the end of the first period. And this is a line drive kick that skips on one hop to the back of the end zone, and they are coming out after the touchback. This is the last bit of rain, we're told, that is in the area, just enough to be somewhat of a nuisance right now.
I want to thank Denny Kincaid with Big Time Sports providing all the stats for us today.
Part of a very good crew here at the Hall of Fame field. 3 games today, Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Hope you'll be with us. If not, we'll have coverage of 2015 IFAF World Championship. From the 20-yard line, it is 1st and 10 for Team Brazil.
Big series for that, Ty. They got a little momentum, as you mentioned, at the end of the first half. Will it carry over to this first series of the third quarter?
We saw Sir Kira for the majority of snaps in the first half, and he's the man behind center here, hanging it off for a first down run up across the 21, maybe right to that spot. Brazil trailing by 24, which is still a 3-possession ball game and still very doable. This is a team that can put point up and do it in a hurry. We saw that capability at the end of the first half with a couple big pass plays. The problem was they just haven't had much time, and the offense hasn't been on the field very much.
And they haven't had any field position this entire first half.
Second down and 9 after the gain of 1. They show 2 backs here. Wide receivers split to the left and the right. Line of scrimmage is the 21-yard line. The white jersey-clad Brazilians hand off right up the middle. Then they fake the pitch to the outside. And a gain of about 3.
They run up right up the middle, and Amadou C, the big defensive lineman for France, is there on the stop. Makes it 3rd and long.
Call it a 3rd and 6. As you can look at that second down play and the nifty little play action fake to the outside. France defensive front not fooled.
You see Mamadou C get away from that blocker and go right to the ball carrier.
4 up front, and the backers kind of back off ever so slightly for France on this 3rd down and 6. There's some time. He'll step up, throw up high, juggled, and incomplete. May have been a little bit behind that intended target, Rodrigo Pons.
Well, he comes up with that catch. He's got big gain. Couldn't come up with it, and it's a 3 and out for Brazil.
This is a 3rd down play, and I don't know, Rob, got a lot of his hands. Probably could have been caught.
Yeah, you gotta, like they always say, if it hits you in the hands, you can make the catch. Wasn't the best thrown ball, but could have come up with it.
3rd and 6. Ball is skipped back to the punter. Does a heck of a job to scoop it, kick it, end over end. Caught by Ryu at 43, and he got an open field in front with a flag coming in from behind. Knocked out of bounds in Brazilian territory, but this may be coming back. As that was the one drawback you thought of the first half for France was a large number of penalties, and it looks like a penalty here is going to negate a pretty good return.
You know, no offense to the Brazilians, but it's really the only thing that has stopped the French team today are the penalties. And sometimes, though, when you're that open returning a punt, it's because it's because the return team did something they weren't supposed to. So, you know, this goes in the books, Ty, as like a 10-yard penalty. But in essence, it's a heck of a lot more than that. It ended up being about 40 yards of field position that you lose because of the penalty, Ty.
During the return, legal block in the back on the return team, the 14. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
Once again, we check in with Jim Briggs, leading this officiating crew out of Great Britain.
Shouldn't he be watching Wimbledon?
Or working it. See if we can find the foul on this play. Yep, right there. Crystal clear. 1st and 10 from the 39. They pitch it outside. And a pretty run this time back into Brazilian territory. Yepmo, we saw a lot of in the first half, but again, yellow off field.
Yeah, the back judge threw it about 30 yards in the air, that penalty flag. I think, again, it's going to be an offensive penalty against France.
Now that's the one thing that, all things being equal, if Australia is going to be as sharp as it was earlier today, I don't know if France gets away with these penalties in a game against the Aussies.
Yeah, that's a good point, and we'll probably find that out Sunday, as it looks like those will be the two teams that meet in the winner's bracket on Sunday.
A little block below the waist, number 30 on the offense. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
But we'll say this, Rob. You're a pick six or a fumble pickup away from this being a ball game again. I mean, it's only 24-0. A sudden turnover, a pick six, you've got a 24-7 game. This game isn't over by any means.
No, it isn't. But I guess with what we've seen from the Brazilian offense so far, they haven't done anything that leads you to believe that they would be able to come back. But you're right. They could.
Trip wideouts up to the left side of the line, and they'll look that way. Durant pumps now, thinks better of it, and tucks. Pressure from behind and brought down. There's a sack to the 31, and this drive is going the opposite way. Terrific pursuit. That was some big-time speed, some closing speed at that.
Bruno De Silva, big defensive lineman, coming there, number 9-7. And big Bruno misses Presfeld, comes off block, runs down Durant. Gets a sack.
He went for the ball first and then said, okay, I'll settle for the sack. Second down and 18. 9:15 in the third period. France continuing to lead by 24. But again, Brazil is one big play away. On the defensive side of the ball, maybe that'll be what jumpstarts them. They've got the box loaded up here. On the play action, some time. Good throw and a sliding catch shy of midfield by Ryu again.
That's a nice job by Ryu to come back to the football, Ty. He had to come back for 3 yards, slide, and make the catch. You'll see it here. Duran with time, throws it, and Ryu comes back to get it.
Andre Vargas is an announcer's nightmare. He is one of the defensive ends for Brazil. His shoes are the exact same color as the penalty flag, and I think there's a flag on every single play when I see him walking around. He should have to change those. It is a 3rd down and 1 and a false start. And the entire Brazil defensive front was reaching into the waistline for the flag on that one.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 79 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That'll help the cause somewhat, make a 3rd down 6.
And you're right. France has to clean this up between now and Sunday if they go on to win this, if they're going to want to beat Australia on Sunday. They're not going to be able to have this many penalties against a better opponent and expect to come away with a win.
Well, that I think, to my recollection, is their first pre-snap penalty. They've had a lot of holds and illegal blocks, but that was the first real fundamental mistake I think we've seen them make. It is going to set up a 3rd and 6 instead of 8 minutes to play in the 3rd. Almost a wishbone look here. And now timeout. Taken by France in advance of a 3rd and 6. 7:47 on the clock. So this is game 2. We've talked about how good the Aussies looked earlier today with a bunch of different formations, and they put up some offensive numbers. A 47-6 win here. It's France over Brazil, 24-0, and we're looking forward to the official opening ceremonies, if you will, of this event, the Parade of Nations. That is before the United States-Mexico game this evening at 7 o'clock right here, the Hall of Fame field.
And I've heard a lot of good things about Team Mexico. I'm really this ball game. It'll be interesting to see how they do against the 2-time defending champions, the Americans.
The stadium, formerly known as Fawcett Stadium, renamed because of some big-time financial contributions being made. This is already one of the premier press facilities in the Midwest, and they're only going to get better as those monies come in, Rob. They're going to make some improvements all over the stadium.
Tom Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints, stepping up, donating a lot of money, so they changed it to Tom Benson Stadium.
3rd and 6. Snap is back. They throw a screen and it's smacked away, and that is called fumble. A completed catch to Yepmo and a fumble. He got it back. As it stands right now, it is a completed pass, a fumble covered. 4th down.
Gerson Santos separated the French player from the football. And Gerson Santos put his hat right on the ball. That's a heck of a tackle and a big play by Santos.
Well, I think they called that
Now they're saying it's an incomplete pass, so it's going to be 4th down.
Okay. Yeah, the clock never started back up. So I'm not sure.
So still are at no turnovers in the game for either team.
Well, a chance now for Brazil if it can set up a return. We saw France run a perfect fake earlier, and they're going to get a terrific bounce here. And inside the 5, good first move will help. Now the second wave comes through, still on his feet, and then hog-tied at the 15-yard line. So at first it looked like trouble brewing, but he got out to 15 first down. But a very good kick.
Flavia Gouffea with the return, but a mistake on his fundamentally tie. It bounced, he's staying inside the 5. You've got to take a chance to let that roll into the end zone. And, you know, the old rule is stay at the 10-yard line. And if it goes over your head, you let it go into the end zone. He was inside the 5, picked it up on a bounce. You got to know where you are on the football field. A good return. But still, it should be 5 yards further than they were.
Does a nice job to cover that ball up. We thought that for a moment Brazil might get its best starting field position, but that is not the case. They are still back up to the 15. Down by 24, 6:50 on the clock in the 3rd. Game 2. Here's the turn and the give. Kira stretch it to the outside with a penalty flag coming in. Team USA enters, and that backside behind the end zone of where Brazil is moving away.
Holding number 88 on the offense. Half-distance penalty. First down.
That is a half the distance foul. They'll move him back. So the shutout is intact. South Korea was limited to just 6 points in the opener today.
Has Brazil run a play from, have they?
Right at the end of the first half.
That's right, the end of the first half. But, boy, predominantly, they have been backed up the entire game.
Yeah, they went the entire first half without a first down. Then they got 2 back-to-back plays right at the end of the half. In his own end zone. Trill coming, throws away, and it is short hop. And be careful. There was a safety in the first game today. This is an incomplete pass, bringing up a second down and very long.
Cerqueira, the quarterback for Brazil, did a good job, though, of getting rid of that football tie, not taking the side, not taking 2 points. See the pressure by France. Now he knows I got to get rid of it. And he does.
Almost sliding catch made out at the 10-yard line. Problem is that 15 yards shy of where they need to be.
Giovanni Nanji of France was bringing the pursuit that time.
Quite the disparity in the aerial attack. This is not going to help. Incomplete. That is a forward pass that's waved incomplete. Yeah, those numbers pretty much tell a story as far as the passing yards. Although France aerial attack has kind of slowed down once they have this big lead.
Yeah, you know, early on they were throwing the ball more than they are now. They used that balanced attack the first half, and I think because their lead and maybe because of the weather conditions, they have decided to maybe not throw as much as they were.
And dare I say, maybe not show your full hand.
Well, it's another good point, right? You got 3 more games after today.
3 wideouts for a 3rd and 18. The clock moves from the goal line. Long throw, Cerqueira got him in. It's caught. And down that far sidelines and pulled out of bounds across midfield goes Pons. Well, he had one go in and out of his hands earlier, but this one takes him into France territory. A strike from Cerqueira to Pons and a gain of 45 on 3rd down and long.
Cerqueira really showed a good arm that time in getting that out there, and that gives those Brazil fans across the way something to cheer about. They've been getting rained on the entire way. Their team getting shut out. A big pass play and give them something to cheer about.
That time, a terrific job by the offensive line to give him time. They go back to the ground, sidestepping the first man and then just getting it back to the line of scrimmage. So it is a 2nd down and 10. Brazil still very much in this game, down 24. 3/8. And they'll have a chance at a 2nd down operating from the French side of the field. They have not been in the red zone. That's one thing we can tell you. They were close at the end of the first half, but they did not get in it. Showing 2 wide receivers down to the bottom side of the field. One back, just the right, of Ramon Cerqueira. He'll look to his left, throw that way, up high, in and out of the hands of the big tight end. And that'll bring up a 3rd down as he was looking for Luria. I beg your pardon, that was Castro. Brazil made a number change, and I apologize for that mistake. Cast could not make the catch on that tight end screen, so it is another third down, this time a third 10 from 48.
We'll see if France decides to put pressure on the Brazil quarterback or will they sit back and play coverage.
They're only going to drop 3, speaking of France. Third down and 10. Here is the screen. It's got a chance, and he coughs up the football, and nothing but Navy jerseys there to pick it up.
I don't know, though. Brazil ends up the football tie.
Well, their sideline signaling that way. They went with the screen.
Sebastian Seychon had an opportunity to easily come up with that full recovery, but he tried to pick it up and run for France. He wasn't able to do so, Ty. You'll see Seychon come into this play, and they always say just fall on it. Well, he tries to cup and run with it here, and you see he fumbles it there and couldn't come away with it, and that'll give Brazil a first down.
Well, no question, that's
Seychon's just got to fall on the ball right there.
Yeah. You're right. He took it away from it, and it's first and 10 for Brazil now with 4:45, and that maybe is the break they need. It's first and 10 from the France 33 now, and they go with a draw play coming back toward the middle and a good first down run toward the 27-yard line. That may have been their best first down play of the day.
Romulo Hamas with the run, and what I like about that, Ty, is they've been throwing a lot consecutively, and I think they surprised France with that draw. And it helps keep the defense honest, and it'll take pressure off of the quarterback, off Sakira. And Brazil with their biggest threat of the game so far.
Let's say manageable second and 4 as we are inside of 4 minutes to play in the third. Back to Hamas, sidestep to his right, and he stood up right at the first down line. He's going to be about a yard short, but down 24, you almost think they've got 2 cracks to pick up this yard.
Yeah, exactly right. And not that you or I care who wins. We don't care, but for the Brazilian fans that have been sitting out in the rain, you almost want to see them score something to give those fans something to cheer about. Who have been sitting in the rain across the way, waving Brazilian flags all afternoon long.
So the first attempt, they're calling this a third down and a short 2. 3 wideouts to the right side, 1 back. That's who's getting it. Tries the middle, now splits to the outside, lunges forward for what looks like the first. So a lot of running to pick up the necessary yard and a half, but they do advance the 6. It's a fresh set of down. The first and 10 to the delight of the green and gold.
We got to find out where they're going after the game, Ty. Wherever they're going, there's a good time that's going to be had. We got to find out where their post-game headquarters are.
Can you imagine? That's going to be a speckle next summer.
I'll tell you this. Touchdown Tommy will know where those fans are going to be, and he comes back next week.
2:40 on the clock, fading, throwing, single coverage near the goal line, leaping back toward the catch. A late flag comes bouncing on in. Hans, the intended receiver, and we'll see if he was interfered with trying to leap back toward the goal line to make that grab. A big call right here. It is interference marked against France. Let's see where this penalty did come in late. And there's definitely contact there right at goal line.
There wasn't much the defender could do because he had the coverage, and then that ball was thrown. The way it was thrown, it put the receiver right at him, and there really wasn't anything that he could do. And that is Cindy Marsan, who was the defender, that gets called for that. But again, in my opinion, not much he could do there. First and goal, Ty.
With 2:34 on the clock, as ball game still very much in doubt. Sakira turns, handoff. Here comes the flag as he bounces side, now down to the 5.
Boy, in this game it doesn't have much of a flow to it with all the incomplete passes and penalties.
And they'll be marked 5 yards the other way. The one good thing, if you're a fan of the Brazilians, is they do keep first down.
Clock is stopped on that holding call to 28. Now they restart it. First down and 18. But this is by far Brazil's chance at getting on the scoreboard today.
Sometimes, though, Tom, as you know, it's tough to throw in the red zone. You know, you just don't have the room to operate that you do.
And play action. He'll keep it and be down right at the 20.
Sorban Muta read it very well. Big number 92 on the defensive line. You see him there on your screen, and he broke up that play.
Second down, they lose a couple. Get a 2nd and 20 from the 20. And I don't know, other than erasing the 0, I don't know that a field goal helps you here. Makes a 3-touchdown game, and as I said, to get you off that 0. You wonder if they're already thinking this is 4-down territory. We shall see. We are closing in on the end. And from the shotgun snap, being back to pass, Fonseca cheats to his left. Again, steps through the 20-yard line and is thrown down to the 19. And that play is going to take us inside of a minute and bring up a 3rd down and long. You can actually call this 3rd and goal because the penalty on pass interference made it 1st and goal.
Defensive lineman Willie and Kishi on the stop of Fonseca, limiting him to a 1-yard run. There you see him, Kishi right there. I think if you're Brazil, you make it half of it right here, Ty. You want to get to the 10 or closer to give yourself a makeable 4th and goal.
4 wide. 35 seconds remaining. Bouncing around on his back foot. Sakira throws. Got man, but it was underthrown. Flag coming in.
That'll be a penalty against France. Defensive secondary. And now, again, now what the defender could do because the ball was so underthrown that it leads to a penalty. And sometimes that's not a bad play. Just throw it up and hope for a penalty, and that's what Brazil's going to get.
Well, they're going to get another automatic 1st down. That was 3rd and goal from the 19.
See, the ball is underthrown, and never turning around is the French defender. And that is Carl Akey.
Rain continues to fall about Benson Stadium here in Canton. Brazil 4 yards from jumping onto the scoreboard. Down 24-0 here in the 3rd. 2-back set on 1st and goal from the 4, left hash. The turn, the handoff, 1st back through to the goal line. And a yard short of it, 2nd down. We went to the fullback that time on 1st down. Antero almost pushed it all the way across, and that may be the final play of the period. So it looks like a defensive stalemate. But right now, if momentum is out there, it might be on the Brazil side. They're knocking on the door. It'll have it 2nd down and goal. Down by 24 in Game 2, IFAF World Championships. 4th quarter next. 12 minutes remaining. Who's it going to be against the Aussies on Sunday? So far, France a 24-0 lead. But as you look in now, as we start the fourth, it's second down and goal for Brazil from the 1-yard line. The turn, the handoff, back to the line of scrimmage, but that is it. That was the 17th play of this drive that has counted for 66 yards and almost 8 minutes of game time. 17 plays, and they're still looking to get into the end zone. Here's play number 16.
And they hand it off straight in the middle. Nothing fancy about that. And a great job by the French defensive line again for shooting in, beating them in the trenches and making the stop. Ty, it's not a complicated game. It's one-on-one. Beat guy in front of you. And the time France did that.
And they stack two backs now. This is third and goal. First back through, and he is met at the wall. Loss of 3.
And that is a guy who's a great defensive game, Mamadou Sy, right there. And Mamadou Sy just saw that Brazil wasn't going to score.
A loss back to the 4 is fourth down and goal.
I mean, he just exploded off that football, Ty.
I don't know if Mama's here, but she had to have liked that. A minute gone by, and recognize the importance of this play. Brazil is taking time.
And Ty, it was second goal at the 1, and now you've got fourth goal from the 4. And if you're Brazil, you can't just run it up the middle here. Big play of the game for them, and as you see them huddle up, why not take the timeout here? You got to get the call right if you're going to back in the.
So a timeout taken, bringing up a fourth goal.
That Kincaid telling us this is the 19th play of this drive, and if you're Brazil. You know, Ty, you can't have a 19-play drive end up in 0 points.
Oh, no. You know, the other thing it's offset. If there was a time of possession advantage in the first half in favor of France, that's gone now.
Yeah.
That long rest Brazil defense needed, well, it's getting it now.
Yeah, I haven't heard you say Paul Duran in quite a while.
As you said, how tough would it be to walk away from here without any points, to run 19 plays and be at the doorstep?
I think the word would be demoralizing. It kind of reminds you of in the first half when it looked like they were off the field and the fake punt by France was successful.
Well, here's something they'll try now on a fourth and goal. They're going to try to spread them all out. They've got 2 wideouts on each side from fourth and goal at the 4 and only 1 back for Marcheri. Well, he'll throws line drive over the head, in out of the hands of his intent target, and a late flag comes in from the referee.
Illegal use of hands to the face, number 77 on the offense.
But I don't think Sakira realized the time he had, Ty, because he put a lot of mustard on that football. If he has a little bit better touch, you've got the touchdown. They decline it. First down for France. Sakira really puts a lot on this for as close as he is.
He had the tips of the hand, and then it went to the back judge. So, indeed, a 19-play drive ends with nothing.
So France bends, but they don't break on defense. They keep the shutout intact, and up 24-0. Now you would expect them to try to run some time off this clock, and with 10:57 to go, they want to get some field position and run some time off the clock if possible.
And that's what we saw Australia do to perfection in the second half of their win over South Korea. On in his own end zone, hands it off, and through to 4. They keep that ball on the ground over the 5 out to the 7-yard line. Called Stefan Yepmo's name a couple of times today, and he's got that carry out to the 7 to pick up a 4.
Delmer Zashi, the Brazilian, with the defensive play here with the stop after a couple-yard run.
Yeah, the number of plays run in the second half is greatly in favor of Brazil. That's why it's so tough to reconcile. They didn't score. Passes thrown in and out of the hands of Ryu. That'll stop the clock. He was there. Would have been a first down. We couldn't quite make the catch. 10-14 on a stop clock. Now it's third down.
Well, Ty, 24-0, but when you think back, it's 21-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, since then, it's just a game, but that kickoff return on the opening play, I just thought that took so much pressure off of France, and it just set the tone right away. And they were able to take that, get the momentum, and get 3 first quarter scores.
7 in the box for Brazil defensively. Third down, 7. We've yet to play 2 minutes of the fourth. High snap into the right. Throws parallel to the goal line. Ryu's got it. Outside of the numbers, 20. Needs to make a man miss, but cannot. Fourth down. So Brazil answers with the stop, and that is going to conceivably give the ball right back to them.
And they probably should get their best field position of the game to start a drive here, Ty. And let's see if they try to put some pressure and maybe get a punt block here on Alexander C. I believe this is his first punt of the day. I don't recall him punting the football.
I don't know if Ryu got banged up. You saw him kind of slowly and gingerly walking off, removing his helmet. Our eye on that down below. Here is punt, end over end, and it'll bounce and take a Brazilian hop inside the 40. So Brazil's going to have, as you mentioned, Rob, very good starting position and still time, 9:21, but they have to score on this drive, and they'd like to do it in a hurry.
You know what? Give the Brazilian defense credit because they didn't hang their heads after the offense goes the entire length of the field and score. It would have been easy right there for Team Brazil to kind of hang their heads defensively, but what did they do? They get great field position for their offense by getting a 3-and-out against this French offense. It gives their team the football starting in French territory. First time they've had a drive start in French territory today.
And now they stack 4 wide to the right side. No backs on first down and 10. And they throw the screen to the near side, in and out of the hands, looking for Azevedo. Boy, it's been quiet. We talked about him in the open and not much of a factor out of that wide receiver position. 5'9", 171. But a lot of that credit goes to the defense France has drawn up for this contest. So it'll be a second down and 10. 9:17 on the clock with the United States and Mexico to follow. It's a 7 o'clock kick, preceded by the official opening ceremonies and the Parade of Nations. 2 wide receivers each side of the line, 1 back on second down. From the 38 down on the move, this will be a free play. And they hand it off, and they'll take the penalty yardage as France jumped across air too soon.
Only question will be, Ty, were they drawn off, but doesn't look like. So you mentioned a free play.
Offside on the defense, number 90. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
I think there were a couple of guys that they could have called this on 90. It's at 54, 58. It's one of those where they could have said
offside
5 yards.
France.
The entire defensive front. Same formation. It's second down 5. We did inside of 9 minutes to play here in the 4th. Looking to his left. Pass is down near the knees, but it is caught inside the 30, right near the line again. It's going to be about a half a yard short. Fernandez on catch. So call now a 3rd down and short. You'll see how low this throw is, and a good job by Fernandez to go down and get it.
But with that, though, there was no way the French defender could make a play on the football. 3rd and short, you wonder if they'll try to run it up gut here.
Certainly 4 down territory right now with 8:25 on the clock as it ticks away. Here they go back to the ground, open hole left side. A touchdown saving tackle made at the 20-yard line. A burst of speed.
Bruno Santucci, who's had several carries today, Ty.
Near the end, yeah, he almost took the distance. This is well blocked on that left side, Rob. That's a touchdown saving tackle made.
And Brazil again in the red zone looking for their first points of the football game. You see their coaching staff there.
Credit to Vidal for keeping Brazil off the scoreboard. Each play they don't score really hurts them because now the clock is their enemy. They're showing 4 wide, 2 on each side, 1 back set for first down and 10. Circura, nothing was left, goes right now, has to tuck it, still outside of the pocket, behind the line. It'll be sacked at the 21. That was a coverage sack. There was nobody open downfield. And you'll see how well these DBs break back for France to really force Circura into a desperate situation and finally brought down. And the clock now ticking down toward the 7-minute mark with France on top, 24-0 in the 4th period. They have led since this game was 13 seconds old. Anthony Dobley had a 102-yard kickoff return. That's how this game started. Right now, that's been the only point France has needed. And on the ground on second down and a dozen, gain to the 15 and just about a foot in center for Ramos.
You might wonder why are they running the ball. There's less than 7 minutes to play, and it was second and long. But Ty, that gives them a makeable third down now. Now you've got 3rd and 5 from the 14-yard line. And I thought that was a good play call by Brazil because it looked like France was anticipating pass. They were able to get 6 or 7 yards, and they put themselves in a position now that maybe they can get a first down and possibly a touchdown.
Well, if you'd look at the plays run in this half, you'd think Brazil should be running away with it, but they've seemingly just been misfiring once they get down here. 6-minute mark is here. Serkira fakes, rolls outside of the numbers, throws back. That pass is a diving interception try, but incomplete. It was just enough tail on that throw. Came back and almost enabled Akey to make the pick on the dive.
Well, Ty, you've seen enough football to know that, yeah, the yardage is nice and this, that, and other, but really how you execute in the red zone is the difference between winning and losing. When you get opportunities, you've got to be able to score. If you can't, you lose. If you do, you win. And I really believe it comes down to that.
Another 4th down in the red zone. This is 4th and 5 from the 15. Throwing to the far corner on the fade. That's a flag. Incomplete, but interference is going to give him another 1st down.
And that's what, the 3rd pass interference penalty on France in the end zone in this football game, and yet Brazil hasn't been able to convert to this point.
And they've all been in this second half.
Pass interference on defense number 2. Foul occurred in the end zone. Ball placed at the 2-yard line. Down.
Well, for Brazil, you better get in now. I mean, you got 1st and goal at the 2. You got 4 crests to get this. There's another look. An easy call.
And I like your buddy referee, Great Britain, but I think we've heard a little, I think we've heard enough with Jim Briggs today, haven't we?
I don't know. There's something about that English accent.
I mean, we've got seems like 20 penalties so far today. I got to get back to work tomorrow.
It's just classy. Here's Hudson Fonseca coming in odd formation. He's going to keep it himself, and they're in. Brazil's on the scoreboard for the first time in IFAF World Championship history. It's a 2-yard run by Hudson Fonseca and a 24-6 game in the 4th.
Well, they take advantage of that pass interference penalty, spread them out, bring in Fonseca to run quarterback, and he goes right up middle out of the spread and gets the 2 yards.
Using that 6'2", 224-pound frame to just lumber on in there. Hudson Fonseca puts Brazil on the scoreboard, making it a 24-6 game. Now the try for point.
They'll go for 2 to try to get a 2-touchdown game.
That's what I'm saying, 8-8-8. Here's the step. He's going to keep it again, but a different result this time. He's greeted right up front and knocked backward. And the try for 2 fails, leaving us at 24-6. France over Brazil, 5:46 remaining in regulation time. So the difference is 18 now. But you know what? Give credit to Brazil. They were aided by a pass interference penalty on that drive, but in the second half, it's been their offense that has been able to move the ball.
And they have outscored France 6-0 in the second half.
Yeah, and the thing is, Rob, you never ever want, the first thing, you don't want to get shut out.
Right.
If you're going to get beat, you'd like to have the points on the board. They battle, they find a way to get on the scoreboard. And
look at the smiles on their faces as they come off. You get a look there at Team Brazil, all congratulating Fonseca. And he'll go in the record books as the first Brazilian to score in IFAF competition. Another thing, Ty, is after today, Team Brazil still has 3 games to play.
That's exactly
so
right.
They wanted to find things that they can get good at, find their identity offensively, something they can hang their hat on, and see if they can get better and improve on Sunday if they have to play South Korea in the losers bracket.
Well, I mean, you take away, Rob, the kickoff return. Defensively, they haven't been bad.
Right.
They allowed the 2 touchdowns and a field goal.
A lot of it, they played against a good offense today. I think you've got to give credit to Duran and that France offense for a lot of it.
No onside kick here. It's Ryu from inside the 5. Tried his right, now back the left, near side. Look out, flag is coming in. He's at the 50 and he's off to the races. A penalty flag in his wake, and he'll be brought down, but a long way back. There is a penalty marker down that will likely nullify an impressive run back.
France is going to want to clean up the penalties for Sunday, but if they're able to do so, it looks like an advantage they have is in their special teams.
We saw them obviously run back the opening kick. We also saw
Fouls both against the returning team. Blocking the back and holding on the return team. 10-yard penalty from the back spot. First down.
So the two fouls, one will be dropped, the other will be enforced. You can see it at the tail end, and there again was the second one. So France to be backed up. 5:30 on the clock. It's a 24-6 ball game. So we hit the top of the hour here in the Eastern Time Zone.
It was Anthony Couvan with the return for France.
United States and Mexico. The opening ceremonies coming up a little later. Some business to tidy up here, however. Ball knocked away, but out of bounds. Knocked free from Yepmo. And boy, does France catch a break here.
Perez Madison is the new quarterback for Team France. And we've got a Brazilian player who is down in the backfield tie.
59.
And he's played a good game. That is Gerson Santos.
Yeah.
And last thing Brazil wants is to lose anybody with 5.5 minutes to go in this first game. Hopefully he's just cramped up, but not sure.
Stops clock with 5:25 on the fourth period timer. We've got a second look at this play to see maybe if we can't find out what happened to the young man on this play. It looks like they're working with the lower body, but we'll see if we can't get a replay queued up to see exactly what took place.
Hopefully he's just got a cramp or tie. I don't like to play doctor, but
59. Oh yeah, he kind of got down from behind. Didn't see it. One of those inadvertent things takes place.
It was a heck of a hit by Marcos de Rocha.
It was.
Separated Yepmo from the football, but it went out of bounds.
This is going to take us to the 5-minute mark inside of it. 24-6 France or Brazil at this point. And here is the give. Yepmo open into the secondary, and he coughs it up again. And I think again France fortunate to fall on it. Yes. Wow, you talk about tempting fate.
And at that same safety, Marcos de Rocha, who comes up and lays the wood on Yepmo. Right there. Man.
Well, Brazil has had a couple of chances at loose balls here on this drive and not able to come up with a loose ball. It's a first down and 10 now from the France 36. 24-6. This was a 24-0 game at halftime. 21-0 after one. Ball is dropped on the toss back, and that's 3 straight fumbles, all of which the French covered up themselves. They're just teasing them now.
France, yep, they're happy they're going to get this win, but I'll tell you what, their coaching staff is going to have a lot to look at in this film. And they're going to have to get better in a couple days to be able to beat Australia, because they're seeing a lot of things in this game that they're not going to like. Granted, some of those guys are second-string players, but still. After that first quarter, they haven't done a lot right.
So Patrick Azuma, their head coach, watch his team run out to a 24-0 lead. Play clock down to 1. They just do get it away. Screen high side in and out of the hands of Ryu. Incomplete. That stops the clock with 3:20 now. And it'll be a 4th down. Or is it 3rd, I think? Maybe it's still 3rd.
You know, this is the first time you and I have had an opportunity to see this tournament. And one of the things I think will be interesting with 45-man rosters, once you get into next week, you know, which teams are going to stay healthy and which teams maybe have a little more depth than others, because you're going to have depth when you're playing in that 3rd and 4th game next week.
3:20. This is 3rd and 19 for France from the gun. Second string quarterback let fly up too high and incomplete. And again, France is not helping itself with these incomplete passes, stopping the clock now 3:14. You can understand trying to pick up the first down, but opportunity to take 30 to 40 seconds off the clock and not able to do it.
Or if you run it and don't get the first down, then you make Brazil take a timeout, which they can't use then on offense.
Each side has a pair remaining in this ball game. 3:14 left in regulation. Very good kick. Spiral turns into an end over end, bounces inside the 3 and check out of bounds to the right. So Brazil offense, which has really been out there for the majority of the second half, coming back out again. 3:06. The winner takes on Australia. And that is on Sunday afternoon. And the loser drops down to face South Korea high noon on Sunday. We have played pretty much through a consistent drizzle today. The wind has fortunately died down, though. One game yet to go, and the open ceremony. This is first and 10, 3:06 on the clock for Brazil from the gun. 4 receivers to the high side. Pressure coming in the backfield. Down he goes. And we do have a penalty marker on the near side of the field.
Brice Marcy with a sack for France. And that was Fonseca back at quarterback.
Holding on the offense, number 17. Penalty is declined. Second down.
You know, Ty, if you're going to hold, they shouldn't be able to sack you that easily.
That's true.
If you're going to get the penalty to hold and earn, do something.
They should calling a touchdown back.
That should be 2 penalties. If you hold, they still get the sack.
That's a fair point. .240 on the clock. Stepping up now, and again, heavy traffic, and he'll just be enveloped at the 10, maybe the 11, and the clock will continue to run. Well, now I guess could start to look at France and Australia, as at one point it looked like France might be able to name score in this game, but then their offense kind of went it with shell. I think a lot of times in football you see that if you jump out to a big lead, you think, well, you are going to coast, and maybe you let that guard down a little bit.
Yep, mentally, you're just quite as into it as you were. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Australia, they were sharp from start to finish. 3rd and 27 inside of 2 minutes. That ball deflected on the throw and incomplete. It falls safely to the carpet. But again, a clock stoppage on incomplete pass, 4th down. And I don't know if there's injury. Yes, there is. A French player is down, number 90. We've seen him race, I think, a couple of times.
Valentin Nawa, the young man from France, who's shaken up.
Well, after a really good first half, France was limited to 27 yards in the second half, but when they had a 24-0 lead, I guess can survive the foot coming off the gas a little bit. To see him back up, he has to have some help to come off, but we saw this toward the tail end of today too, Rob, with a lot of the South Korean players getting banged up, and I think that goes to your point, is how does that go? Because again, you're not getting that full 6 days off between games. You're coming back, you get Friday and Saturday off, but then right back at it. That was almost blocked on Sunday, bouncing on 2 hops. Now they'll just let it go because that's going to take some time off. 1:35 now on the clock at 24-6, and you said it a couple of 45 men. And if you're just joining us, 45 men rosters. Now the United States team, who we will see later on. NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3 players, some NAIA players, 20 or older, a year removed. 1:34 on the clock. It is France 24, Brazil 6. And they're going to mark it at or near the 40. Conversation perhaps about that very thing right now.
We have run into the kicker, number 92 on the receiving team. First down.
Second series now for France's backup signal caller, coming out with the ball at the 40, nose right up against it. A 24-6 lead. We saw them cuff the ball 3 times in their last series, but recover all of them.
Yeah, how about that? No turnover today for either team.
And they go right back to Yepmo, who holds the ball close to the chest this time. It's across midfield for a gain of 12 and a first down.
So that'll temporarily stop the clock as they move chains, as he goes right up the gut for a dozen yards. Best running back for the French team.
They almost halfway match their previous output in the entire second half with that single run. They had 27 yards, and they just added 12 here in the second half. Up by 18 with a minute 10 to go. And almost jumping, and that will be a jump. They'll stop the play. Now the finger pointing.
Full start on the offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
67 seconds remaining in regulation. I want to say thanks to our director, Dean Marini, our booth statistician, Denny Kincaid, and all of the fine folks that have helped bring you the action from this ball game. France and Brazil. Krumers down the field in the elements. Yepmo again, nice right side into the open field. 30-25 down that far sideline, and he is in for the touchdown. And a point for France here, fourth period.
It'll be a 48-yard touchdown run if the sticks were right. With 49 seconds to go in the ball game.
Well, after a couple of fumbles in his last series, Yepmo into the end zone to emphatically punch Francis Ticken into the second round. Just physically running down and walking that tightrope on the far sideline, stays in. And a 36 game with the extra point up and good. And France moves out to a 31-6 fourth quarter lead with 49 seconds to go. .49 remaining. And France is back in the end zone for the first time since the first half. Maybe even since the first quarter.
Yes, it's their first touchdown since there was 55 seconds to go in the first quarter. Their first score of any kind since the 32-yard field goal by C with 10:10 to go in the first half. So they almost went 3 quarters without points. Although with that 21-0 first quarter lead, they didn't need it. They didn't need any. But I think France, with that touchdown tie, they're going to feel a little bit better about themselves heading into Sunday. Having sort of touchdown late, adding on a little bit, I think that should give them a little more confidence heading into Sunday.
And Brazil's foray into IFAF World Championship competition will end in a loss, but it will not end in a shutout. And they were on the board in that last series. This is a return across 20-yard line up to the 24. And that's the interesting thing. What will we see from the losing squads in South Korea and Brazil? What jumps will they make from game 1 on Thursday to game 2 on Sunday? We'll wait to find that out. That'll be a Sunday high noon match between these Brazilians and the South Koreans.
And to me, when you're in that loser's bracket, I kind of think beginning of the football game is important. Brazil can't afford to have a start like they did today. Can they improve and have a better first quarter on Sunday? Saying that they have to have a lead over South Korea, but they don't want to see a repeat of today.
A timeout on field. And then we look ahead to the final game of this opening day as the rain finally slows up. The United States beat Mexico 17-7 4 years ago. And Coach Hawkins and his team were talking about it. You don't really have much to go on. It's not like college football or even high school football where you can scout their opponent from last week. You're really going back a ways. Not only that, but the roster turns over so dramatically from one event to the next, so you really don't have a lot go on. You don't. It's just the facts of it.
I think you just do what you do. You worry about what you do, and you try to execute the best that you can, and then just kind of adapt to your opponent as the game goes on. And That's where your coaches come into play.
Ball knocked away at line of scrimmage, and a complete pass. It's 2nd down and 10 with 37 seconds remaining.
I mean, I think sometimes you simplify it there.
They do a nice post-game wrap down on the field with both squads, and the media panel comes up with most valuable players for both squads, and we've been privy to that information here in the booth. 37 seconds left. 2nd down and 10. 3 wide receivers. And pressure coming, and in. Sir Carroll's day gets a little tough.
And the MVP for France is going to be wide receiver Guillaume Rio, who had an outstanding game. I mentioned him at the top of the telecast. He had a couple of touchdowns. We're told Denny Kincaid, 5 catches, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns for Rio.
Brazil's defensive lineman Bruno da Silva is their MVP. There's a good look at Rio wearing red, white, and blue of France and sporting a nice smile.
Yep, he's happy, as he should be. He was big early in this game when France took control, and Brazil, they made it interesting, but never could quite give it the striking distance. A big part of that was the start that Ryu had.
Yeah, when they didn't score on a 19-play drive, that was tough.
I think you saw real chemistry with Duran, the quarterback, and Ryu. And their experience, maybe that's why France had that good start by the experience of this team in this competition.
17 seconds remaining. France a 3-1-6 lead over Ramon Cerqueira and Team Brazil. And the quarterback, Pons going in motion. He'll turn, make the catch, double pass, lets it fly down the field. Heavy track there, underthrown, incomplete, no flags. 8 seconds. It's 4th down. Rodrigo Pons with the second throw, but France again not fooled on the defensive side.
Yeah, it looks like Brazil's going to drop to punt formation. This could possibly be the final play of the ball game. Felipe de Castro, who has been busy punting many times today, will be back one more time. That left-footed kicker. He's done a good job a couple times today. He's taken some short snaps. Done a good job.
France didn't have anybody back. Now he finally sprints back there, and the kick is away. Bounces out of bounds, saving 3 seconds on the 4th quarter timer. Giving France enough time for one knee and one more penalty flag to come in. That was nothing physical. You almost wonder if somebody said something. I don't know, because there was, like I said, didn't seem like there's anything physical there. But we'll get the explanation from the crew. They may have had 12 guys out there. France did, which if that's the case, then you get repunted. That's what they're discussing right now. If that's the case, if it was 12, then you talk about what happens after the fact. What is the penalty? As the fans make their way in for the final game. And you'll have
first from the previous spot. It'll be 4th and 11 on the 3-yard line.
I think it's saying it's a live ball foul, so it's 4th and 11 now. And you don't necessarily even have to kick this. You could probably run a play instead. But the reason you're going to get more fans back in here, because all the teams will be honored before the final game of the day.
Well, it looks like the weather's going to finally cooperate for the first time today. Clear a little bit, and hopefully that'll bring some more fans to watch United States and Mexico, and as you mentioned, for the festivities before that ball game.
Japan doesn't play today, is here. South Korea's back in the building. We saw the United States come in, and off in the corner underneath the video board near I-77, Team Mexico has gathered. 4th down and 11, and perhaps one more snap. in what has been a real long game. Slowed by some penalties and some dropped passes, but no question on it, France has earned this first round win. And as it turns out, all they really needed was that opening kickoff return. Would have won it 7-6. 102 yards to start game. And a knee taken. And the ball game is over. So France, make that a 31-6 win, moves on to Sunday. Now it's U.S. and Mexico. For all of us at Big Time Sports, for Rob Polinsky, I'm Ty Linder. And from the Hall of Fame field, song everybody.